I move we approve the September 19 minutes.
I'll second it.
Great. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Great. There you go. And hello.
And a baby.
It's Elisa. I'm Carl Sprague. I'm the chairman of the HBC Commission. And I'm glad we seldom have babies at our meetings.
Oh, we love that.
Nice
Well,
thing.
well, she's sort of attached to me, so.
The magic of Zoom. Now let's see. The property is located exactly where?
So we are at 1 South Hill Road.
Yes.
Yeah, which is right off of Larry Wog Crossroad. And so let me see if I can turn on a light here. Oh, that's better. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but basically it's at the top of a hill. And I mean, I guess they're calling it a barn apartment. It's the barn that is right next to the house that was converted, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 years ago. And it's probably, oh gosh, I think it's basically 18 by 36 feet. And has a little deck on it. I have some, I'm hoping my husband can join soon because we just took some pictures.
Is his name Mickey?
Yeah, Mickey.
He is
me.
gonna be on in 1 second.
Oh, yeah. Good.
I'm here. You guys hear me?
Oh, great.
Hi, how do you do?
Hello.
Hi, Carl Sprague. Well, Pam Sandler just left. Where'd she go?
I'm here. Sorry.
Good.
Had to-
And Lisa Sauer.
Hi.
Peter
I'm
Wood.
laying on the heating pad. I killed my back.
Oh, no.
That's why.
Oh, no.
So too much snow shoveling.
Oh.
Don't do that. I would just wait for it to melt. Well, be careful. Anyway, so we're talking about moving this barn structure, right? When did you acquire the property?
Last October, so a year ago. Yeah, end of
Right.
October.
So you're
And
figuring it out.
yes, so we've so we've been making some updates to the house in the last year, and that was sort of, one of the projects on our list that we were hoping to do. So pretty early on we had we had talked to some moving companies just because we were like, we've never even moved a building before. What would that what would that take? How would they do it? Where, we talked about where you could put it, and in certain areas, like, a huge, beautiful tree would need to be cut down. No, so anyway, we had sort of just preliminarily just talked to them to get quotes and things, because we just wanted to look into it, just because it is a, it's another living place, very close to the house.
Yeah.
So,
Do you have tenants living in the apartment?
yeah, right now we have a woman living there.
You asked them to move out temporarily when you move the building?
Yes, but well, based on, I mean, they say that, like even a glass of water can be, sitting there and no problem. So, no,
All right.
I mean, we need to figure out, we need to figure out logistics as to where she could go when things are being trenched and things and rehooked up.
And you're building a new foundation for that?
Yes. Yeah, you would have to.
Pete, do we know anything about how old this structure is?
No, we don't. I circulated the building form for it. It's STO 230.
Yeah.
And it referenced, so obviously the house is extremely old. It goes back to the 1800s or the 1700s, actually. The the building form describes carriage barns plural. So, but it doesn't tell you which carriage barns or where they are.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to treat this as potentially within the realm of the historic building envelope, if you will. So then the question would be, is it a substantial alteration to move it the 100 feet that the owners are proposing?
Okay, can I say something real quick? So at the very back of the house, so the front of the house faces south, and they sort of like, I think, built on to the north. And attached to our house is what they had said was the carriage barns with the carriage doors that open, and it has a stone floor, and there's an old well that's inside of there. And this is all attached to the house. This isn't the, yes, I'm right when you said carriage houses, and that's when I remembered that, I mean, carriage barns, that's what they said, those two double doors and where the carriages would come in and stuff, but that's not attached to the structure, but
That's attached to the main house now.
attached to the main house. Yep.
Right.
But the barn that we're talking about is not attached to the house.
No.
If
No.
you look at the site plan, it's the only other, it's the only other building on the site plan
Yeah,
that they submitted. There's no other buildings on the property.
So that could be because they're attached now, I guess. Do you have
Right.
any idea when the attachment was done, Lisa?
I know that this was Erstfeld's house. I would assume
Okay.
he's probably the one who did all of that. I know the apartment was lived in by Billy Yakubacci for years. And Chris turned that building into an apartment for Billy.
Oh, did
And
he?
he lived in
Probably was
there,
Illegal. Yeah.
he lived in there for probably until about maybe 2 years ago.
no, he
I don't know when
actually
these
lived there
folks
when
bought
we
it.
purchased it.
Oh,
He
really?
lived there when you were there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much land,
So
how much land do you guys have?
In total, I think it's 12. On this side, it's 9 point something, 9.6. And then across the street is 2.9.
But
So
now
you
the proposed location, new location of the barn is within various zoning setbacks and so forth.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
it's on the, if you look at this site map that was prepared for them by Kelly Granger, Parsons
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Associates,
Yeah.
you can see where the setbacks are. They're within the setbacks. They're not,
No,
not
that's
encroaching.
not what I'm asking at all. What I'm asking is this, and this is maybe more some, a zoning question that's not involved with us at all. You have two structures on one piece of property. And the apartment is legal because someone's lived in there all at one time. I don't know if he got a special permit or what he did. But in Stockbridge, you can have two residents on a 5-acre parcel, but they need to be attached. So what I'm getting at is this: we are changing
Oh.
the location to over here, and I don't know what that means to planning board, zoning board, selectmen. That is, I don't know what happens with that. It's just a question of,
How long has that been? I mean, I can think
It's-
of any number of properties in Stockbridge that have two buildings that are on the same property that
they're
aren't
all,
attached.
they're all non-conforming. They're pretty, anything
Oh.
new you do, has to meet that requirement. So my question is, if we're abandoning this site and they move it over here, I don't know.
Oh,
It's
is
just
that gonna be
something
considered
that's not
new?
for, it's not for our board. Did you guys
Oh.
talk to a lawyer at all?
Does Stockbridge not have ADU? Like,
How, how big is the apartment?
it's less than 800 square feet.
to be honest with you, it's probably not listed as an ADU. ADU.
Could you just define that term you're using?
Accessory dwelling unit.
Okay, I got you.
And typically they have to be attached to the main building or things like that. I don't want to get, I'm sorry, I brought this up, but
Yeah.
No, it's a good point.
it's something.
Well, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, because we just moved from Egremont. That's where we've been for the last decade or so.
Yeah.
And so I'm more familiar with those town regulations, right? So there it's 2-family by right. And that's how it used to be, was that if you're gonna have a 2-family, that you need to be connected, but then they instituted having an ADU, which is an accessory dwelling unit. It could be up to 800 square feet, and it could be anywhere on the property, basically within the setbacks.
Right.
So that was the different.
Town.
So I think basically you technically in Egremont, you could have a 2-family that are attached
Mhm. Or
somehow,
not attached.
and an ADU somewhere else on the property within the,
I
I
think
think.
it matters how much property you have too.
Yeah.
But again, that's not, I'm sorry, Peter. and
You're-
Carl. They're supposed to be in charge. I'm not supposed to be in charge. I just felt
No, no,
that it is something that might get a question by the building inspector if we say everything is perfect, and you might have another hurdle to go over.
well, our business is
Right.
one thing, which is, you know, is this a significant historic structure, which we're a little bit unclear about.
Right, I've not seen it.
History.
I actually had,
Nick, he's got his hand up.
yeah,
Sure.
Carl, in fact, it dovetails with what you're saying. Well, I'm assuming it does. One thing I did want to mention about there being 2 separate structures. One, Elisa mentioned, was the carriage house that at some point was connected. I think the gap was sort of filled between the main house and the carriage house. But separate from that, there is a foundation across the street that it looks like there was a building on it, I don't know, 100 years ago, but it's just a foundation built into a hill at this point, just stone.
Great.
So I don't know if that might be the other, Peter, that you mentioned, that there were 2.
I see.
And I suppose it's possible, you know, I mean, the person who filled out this form in 1979, she just wrote carriage barn. It's like, you know, it says outbuildings describe, I mean, it conceivably it could be a 1960 outbuilding. And she would still have listed it. It's weird she would call it a carriage barn. This doesn't really sound like a carriage barn to me. But yeah, so I think Carl's right that we're really not sure if this is a significant historic building or not. But I feel like we can probably find that even if it is, it's not a substantial alteration if you're just moving it 100
Right,
feet.
no, it's wonderful.
You're not otherwise changing it.
So I would make a motion that this is not a substantial alteration.
Okay.
I would second that.
All right,
Okay.
We could have discussion.
we can, or we can just vote.
I think we discussed it plenty.
Yeah, okay.
Just saying.
All right. well,
Pam
all
discussed
favor-
it a lot.
all
Sorry,
favor-
I'm sorry. I'm like
No, I
hot on
think-
the subject
I think it's a
today.
great point you brought up, Pam. I just don't, I think that somebody, the other board will probably bring that up to them,
Yeah, that might be an issue.
not
for
us.
the zoning Board or selectmen, you know.
Right.
might-
I mean, what we need to stick to is our little,
Yeah,
short little,
Well,
Or
they-
bigger.
unfortunately, Elisa, they don't even have it as a definition in our zoning bylaws, an ADU, which is very bad. So.
well, it may
we'll
not
put
be
you on the
allowed.
Committee. We'll put you
I
on the
think we're
committee.
working- I believe,
So, Mickey, am I correct that you're not proposing any other alterations to the building except you're moving it and there may be some foundation change or what have you?
Yeah, even the foundation, we're gonna mimic almost exactly what's there.
Sounds
What
good.
does
All right,
that
there's a
mean?
motion on the floor.
all in
Wait,
favor?
wait. Step one back.
No discussion.
He said we're gonna mimic. What does
Right.
that mean? Is it gonna be the exact footprint?
It's to be the exact
Turning it.
footprint. I was talking about the construction of the
Oh,
foundation.
okay, thank you.
And
Thank you.
tell us what it's located on now. You used a term that I wasn't familiar with before, but I read up on it, but I've forgotten.
Sonotubes. Yeah, they're a
Okay.
foot wide by probably 6 to 8 feet long, filled with concrete.
Piers, yeah.
Yeah, piers.
Wait, this building is already on sonotube
Yeah.
piers? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Build the foundation. Yeah.
All right.
Probably
fine.
not very old.
Yeah, it's probably not very helpful.
Doesn't sound so
So, excellent.
historic. Okay, let's, we got a motion on the table, not a significant alteration. All in favor?
I-
Hi.
There you go. All right. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
I will do a memo to the building inspector and I'll CC you, you and Elisa, Mickey.
Beautiful.
Sounds
luck.
like
Thank you.
Beautiful
Good
house you
luck.
got.
Great.
fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Beautiful
excited about it.
house.
Yeah, we're it's a
Okay,
great
thanks.
house.
All right. See y'all around town.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Welcome.
Thanks for your time. So I have one other piece of business, which is a little bit of a disaster, I have to say, that took place at 22 Prospect Hill Road. I don't know if you're familiar with the big house. I think of it as Aunt Belle's house, big brick.
It's just the one that keeps growing?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, they tore down the Daniel Chester French tea house.
What?
That was the nicest thing about the entire property.
How did they do that?
I don't know, they did it. So this is from Pete copying me on the Macris form. In 1915, Daniel Chester French designed a garden for friends, Professor and Mr. And Mrs. Felix Lamond at Fair Acres, a property with the Colonial Revival collaborative house, not extant, burned in 1949. A garden pavilion designed by French, which survives, not anymore, was one element in the garden along with an arch, pedestal, and treillage. Anyway, it's gone.
Now I have a question. Where was it in the plan of what they developed?
It was next to the house.
Did,
To
did,
the south or the north, Carl?
To the south.
To the
so,
south.
okay, I'm gonna
Right.
right, did Ned issue the permit and saw that they were gonna tear it down?
I assume that no permit was filed for.
Well, I think they should be fined.
Yeah, I'm kind
They're
of a.
spending millions and millions of dollars over there.
Yeah.
I don't care if they aren't spending millions. We really have to show press, we have to do something.
I mean, it's an interesting question, like what teeth we have. I don't think we have much, but what happened was wrong. I already called up and left a message at Chesterwood at the director's office. I haven't spoken with Ned, but we'll have to find out.
How did you find out that it was torn down?
Linda Jackson left me a message, left us a
So
listen.
I'm just trying to figure out how somebody found out about it. That means somebody knew about it.
Well, I think Linda was driving.
They might have
by.
seen it.
Yeah, it's right there on Prospect Hill Road. When you drive by, you're always looking at it. You were.
Yeah, if you knew the tea house was there, I mean, she probably knew it was there. And she was
Yeah.
probably watching all that construction going on and then it wasn't there. That's
Would
would
think
be
so.
my guess.
Yeah.
That's just, a guess.
Yeah, so I think,
What a
what did Ned know and when did he know it?
Uh,
And is Pam
Well,
knows
yeah,
he did this without
going-
permission? That's one thing. If they did it with permission.
Holes.
How many square feet was it also? Just to get
I would guess 12 by 12.
those.
But it doesn't matter. There's no, the 500 square foot is for additions or alterations. A building, the definition of a building is
Right.
not limited by size.
What can our board do as, you know, can we find them?
I'm looking at the bylaw. It says, any person who violates any provision of this article shall be punished by a fine of not more than $100 for each offense. Each continuing day of such violation may be considered a separate offense. So they'll just, you know, obviously, it's not really clear. They have to pay $100 every day. For the rest of
Balance our whole
the-
budget.
Well, do they pay it? Does that mean that, the, you know, the offense has already occurred, so do they pay $100 for the rest of time? Because the
Well-
tea house is gone, or do they, is
Well,
there a
that-
limit?
That's an interesting question that, you know, I think is down the road in terms of what might be the sanction if indeed they did this without permission. But I think first question is, did Ned give him permission? Did he know? Was it in the plan, as Pam asked? I
Yeah,
can see where the
How
plan
do
might
how do
be.
we find that out?
we call Ned.
You think?
Well, unfortunately, we're dealing with the person who has no respect for our.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I do feel like, you know, like the select board, you know, maybe should be included at some point in our expressing our discontent with Ned if indeed it turns out he allowed this.
I'm just trying to figure out how Ned would have known. I mean, the only way, I'm assuming the owners knew. They aren't that, and the architect walking around the site, the former owners may have told them. It's just, but it changed hands twice from the original owners, and it was sold to a developer. And then it was sold to who's ever working on it now. It was flipped again.
Yeah.
Plus,
Well,
plus the lots were split up, so,
Oh, okay.
you know, that was like, that was
That's
one
true.
large property and it's been split into 3 lots now.
But the French
Really?
piece was on the lot.
The center, yeah. mhm.
Center lot, right, and those people would have told.
So Carl, I think you need to investigate further and keep us posted.
Yeah, well, and I'm not beyond sending it a letter to the editor, you know, the Eagle, just to, like, you know, once I find a little bit more about this.
Well,
piece.
Carl, if you need any help with it, I've got some time to help you sleuth.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, while we're on these
I just-
subjects of.
I just wish we had a
things that-
photograph. I mean, there's no
Well,
documentation, you know.
well, there is in the that historic area report. There's a photograph of it. That's part of the Mass Historic Records.
Oh, that's good. Okay. All right.
Check it out. I forget what I told you. It's
That Macros, yeah,
you know, something.
you sent me this convenient link, so I didn't go by. Anyway.
So I have another bad thing to report. I think
Which is,
well, the house that we approved on, I forget the name of that road, but the old house with the Georgian end that was recently purchased. They demoed the whole center section, which we had determined was the oldest section,
Right.
with the King's boards and the post and beam construction. It's gone. They just took it right out. They left the 2 end pieces and took the oldest part gone. So I don't think that we said to them they couldn't do that, but I think we kind of encouraged them that was the part most worth saving, and they didn't.
I mean, we emailed about that. My view is that within the scope of the permission we gave them, is maybe you're suggesting, Lisa, they could take that part down. That was the part that was on no foundation whatsoever. And they said that the more they dug into it, it was, you know, sitting on dirt and was not salvageable.
Okay. Too bad. I hope they saved some of the portions of it, because there
They
was some
did, they
beautiful.
said, yes, they said they were going to save some of the, you know, the nice old beams and posts and what have you.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better.
And incorporate them, I think, in what they're putting in between the 2 parts that they are saving. And I think Carl said, which is true, I mean, it's, a lot of people would have torn that whole place down, and I don't know, you know, if, you know, so the fact these people are saving what can be saved, I think is laudable.
yeah,
Okay.
that's a tough project over there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. I just she seemed like she was so
It's
wanting to,
worse than my house.
Yeah, I think.
or
you
mine.
know, Yeah, I think
Anyway,
she
okay.
does want to do the best she can,
I think
within,
so.
not craziness. And, I mean, another 5 years and that place would have been, maybe sooner, and that could have declared it unfit and
Right,
burned down.
demo, right, I got you, okay. I'm done complaining then. I have horses to feed, guys, so we need to move on, if,
Well,
Well,
I have
we can-
another
Is there
meeting to go to.
after
Well,
I'm the one
we don't have
making
any,
things longer.
we don't have any pending business, so I think we'll have to wait till the next application to schedule any subsequent meeting.
Can you keep us posted on 22 Prospect, Carl?
I shall, absolutely. And
And like I said, Carl, if you need any help, I can do like deed research or whatever for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah.
You're right. But barring that, motion to
I move
adjourn.
we adjourn.
All right.
Okay.